I suffered beyond what most humans can comprehend. I was completely bedridden and unable to lean up for more than a few inches. I was unable to read, write, understand words when spoken to, or complete a thought process. Even a bit of thinking would hyperstimulate my nervous system too much. I had severe dementia. I couldn't see the walls around me. Neurological dysfunction too obscure to put into words. In the last month before my recovery, I was unconscious, an estimated 90% of the time. Not sleeping, but literally unconscious. I was basically comatose. I'm nearly 6'3", and last December I weighed 102 pounds. I had heart failure, severe pancreatitis, and my lungs collapsed. My body was producing just enough energy to sustain a heartbeat. To make things even worse, I was confined to a pitch-black room, isolated from the world, unable to tolerate the slightest bit of light or noise much of the time. I had sensory overload so bad I couldn't be touched, as it was too stimulating. The consequences of being overstimulated resulted in further exhaustion and seizures. In addition, I had extreme chemical and electromagnetic frequency sensitivities. Needless to say, I had to be in a very special environment to stay alive. It is painstakingly difficult to care for someone in the condition I was in. I was as sick as an end-stage AIDS and MS patient put together. Immune deficiency similar to what an AIDS patient presents, and more nervous system abnormalities than most MS patients. But I don't have MS or AIDS. I have a disease called chronic fatigue syndrome, which merely describes a symptom these diseases share. I was left for dead. I was withering away in a dark room. I was left to die due to the extreme lack of knowledge, compassion, or regard by our medical community. I'd spent 10 years searching for help from doctors. I'd hear, oh, it's just allergies, it's just chronic Epstein-Barr, it's just depression, oh, it's just chronic fatigue syndrome, and there's nothing we can do. In the fall of '06, I fell down in a hotel lobby in New York. I was suffering from severe CFS-related exhaustion. My dad called 911, and the ambulance came to pick me up. On the way to the hospital, I told the tech, I have severe exhaustion, I have chronic fatigue syndrome. Some know the disease as myalgic encephalomyelitis. The tech said that there was no such thing as myalgic encephalomyelitis. When I arrived at the hospital, they said my vitals were normal, and they put me in the psychiatric unit. I spent 24 hours there where I was strip searched, repeatedly questioned about my personal life, and given a cocktail of psychiatric drugs. Shortly after, I went into my last relapse that would nearly end my life. Now, who's to blame for all this? Clearly, this disease and its millions of sufferers have been shortchanged in an epic way over the last 20 years by the government, medical community, and the public at large. There's been a false stigma attached to this disease created by lack of research and inaccurate information disseminated by the CDC. One major cause in this disease not getting the proper recognition stems from naming and definition. The CDC wrongly changed the name of myalgic encephalitis to CFS in an attempt to undermine the serious nature of this disease in favor of politics and economics. In saying that, I'm just one of thousands upon thousands of ME/CFS patients who are currently suffering near the extent I was. The only difference, they most likely won't live to share their experience. I'm going to hurry up here because unless things change, many ME/CFS patients succumb to cancer, heart failure, pancreatitis, and other comorbid conditions that come along with having this disease. Many will die from suicide, committing suicide at a rate double of MS patients. They're not committing suicide because of depression or stress. They're committing suicide for multiple of reasons, which include suicide from decrease in quality of life created by the disease. They're committing suicide because the medical community, family, and friends don't understand what is happening to them, and there's little hope for a cure. They're committing suicide because they can't bear the extreme physical and neurological dysfunction. They're committing suicide because many are inundated with toxic poisoning. They're committing suicide because they have dozens upon dozens of infections that human beings are not supposed to get. They're committing suicide because they have no safe place to go, no special facilities that have staff trained to care for ME/CFS patients, no special facilities that are free of chemicals or sensory stimulus. The patients have nowhere to turn. So while these patients are being suffocated by toxins and destroyed by viruses, suffering greatly, the CDC's answer is, let's spend money to research the effectiveness of cognitive behavioral therapy and graded exercise therapy. I'm alive and speaking to you today because I got proper treatment, a treatment that focuses on the true biomedical basis of this disease rather than the myths created around this disease.
Please wrap up.
30 seconds, please. Myths such as treating this disease with cognitive behavioral therapy and psychological intervention should be primary treatments and coping mechanisms, as well as graded exercise therapy for increased threshold. These therapies do not even come close to a real cure and can be extremely dangerous unless they are integrated into a therapy that addresses underlying issues. I realize that this is the easy way out for Reeves and his sidekick Simon Wesley in the UK. If we think this is an effective treatment, why do I speak to thousands of ME/CFS patients who feel differently? Why is there no person in this room with true CFS who has been helped by these therapies? I'm almost finished, 30 seconds. Why have ME/CFS
You're a
patients...
minute past 5 minutes. With all due respect, sir, everyone has honored the 5 minutes.
I apologize. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
And we will accept your written testimony for the record. Thank you, sir. And thank you for bringing this compelling photograph.
Shown, if you don't mind sharing it and let people in the committee see it going on. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have a Laurel Bertrand who has sent us a DVD for her testimony. She's unable to travel to be here, and I hope that that has been queued up. Is that DVD ready to go? Can anybody? Let's verify that and then, yeah. There we go.
Hi, my name is Laura. I have severe ME/CFS and I'm unable to speak above a whisper. I ask for your patience as my sister-in-law reads my testimony for me. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that you have allowed accommodations for me in order that my voice be heard today. It is rare for those of us most severely afflicted with this illness to be given the opportunity to speak. I wanted to testify today for many reasons, but mostly because I feel the CDC and NIH have failed us. They have failed us because they have not taken CFS seriously enough, have not aggressively sought treatment or physical biomarkers, and have failed to inform the public and medical community that this disease can make a patient as sick as I am. I don't think I would have become bedridden had I received proper education about this from my doctors. Instead, I was only told to push past it. As a result, I am so severely ill, I cannot leave my house and have no real medical care. I am virtually invisible. I came down with CFS 13 years ago following a severe case of mononucleosis. I was 24 years old. After years of pushing my body beyond its capacity to continue working full-time, I had a setback so severe I ended up housebound and had to quit my job. Not long after that, I had a setback that left me bedridden and unable to speak above a whisper. That was nearly 10 years ago. I have spent what were supposed to be the most vital years of my life sick, barely able to speak, and confined to my bedroom. Please do not be mistaken. This has nothing to do with depression of any kind. I am not depressed, and I still fight to overcome my obstacles every minute of every day. Prior to being stricken with CFS, I was a fully healthy, energetic, ambitious young woman. I graduated magna cum laude with a BS in psychology from Tufts University. I worked in human resources, first at a publishing company, then at a state university. I have traveled extensively, including a semester abroad and a month backpacking through Europe. After college, my friend and I spent nearly 2 months driving across the U.S. I love to travel, I love to learn. I love to draw and read and spend time with friends and family. I love photography and the outdoors. I love to dance. It's not that I no longer want to do these things. It's that I can't. Despite my situation, I was fortunate several years ago to have found a friend and companion online. He can relate to my struggles, and he brings me hope and laughter every day. He too has a severe case of CFS and is wheelchair-bound. He too became ill at a young age after a severe case of mononucleosis. He's been ill for nearly 25 years now. Over the course of 5 years, we became best friends and fell in love. Last year, he flew out to propose, and I said yes. We are now thrilled to be engaged and can't wait to be well enough to get married someday. We dream of having children and raising a family. We dream of successful